This next Devo in the series of 24 hours is just simply called Love. And Jeremiah 31 is what we're looking at. It's a great reminder of how God's with us day and night, as God reminds us of this very thing, of his everlasting love, and that he draws us to him with unfailing kindness. He then tells the people about his plans. He says he's going to bring blind and lame and expectant mothers along streams and on level paths, and in other words, their nights are going to turn to joy. He says the sorrowful will be like a well-watered garden and dance and be glad, and those that have been weeping, their work will be rewarded. Children will return. In other words, long nights will turn into joy. He will bless his people, restore the weary, satisfy the faint, and they won't just teach about knowing the Lord, they'll actually know him, from the least to the greatest. And in verse 35, he who appoints the sun to shine by day, decrees the moon and stars to shine by night, who stirs up the sea so that its waves roar, it says the Lord Almighty is his name. All of this chapter in Jeremiah is so encouraging to those of us as we move from day to night in this 24-hour cycle that God created, that the Lord Almighty is with us in both. I recently read an article in our local paper about John Coltrane, the great jazz saxophone giant. One of his pieces, A Love Supreme, is still popular today long after he's been gone, but Coltrane himself didn't have a life full of days or of all good things. His dad died when he was 12, but at the same time, someone introduced Coltrane to the saxophone. A night giving way to the day. He found great success as a jazz musician, but then he soon fell into addiction and almost overdosed. Coltrane says that in 1957 he experienced, by the grace of God, a spiritual awakening that led him to a richer, fuller life, and he felt called to make others happy with his music. He says this was granted to him through God's grace, and this is a quote, "No matter what, it is with God. He is gracious and merciful. His way is in love, through which we all are. It is truly a love supreme." In other words, love is a sufficiency all its own. The writer of the article says love helps us to be grateful, to relax, to rest, to enjoy, to share. Love helps us do all great things. Love covers it all. And guess what? Coltrane died of liver cancer 10 years later at the ripe age of 40, and yet his call that he felt called to do lives on. The writer of the article ends with this statement, "Love is sufficient. It covers all we need and then some." And in Coltrane's words, may we never forget that in the sunshine of our lives, through the storm and after the rain, it is all with God in all ways and forever. This chapter in Jeremiah reminds us of God's mercy and grace with a people that blessed him and then cursed him, and the promise that all long nights will eventually give way to the light of day because of his great love. And this one man's story that I just shared of God's goodness and love spoke deep to his soul and enabled him to share a love supreme out of the darkness of addiction and pain, and it still speaks to us today. Go look it up and listen to it. Love, day and night, it's written in the sky and it's written in all of our hearts, and it's all we need.